Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Road to Abundance with Mike Shabbat. And today we have a special guest and a friend of mine, Rachel. She's a functional medicine practitioner.
Nutritionist. You
Yeah,
almost
I
got
was
it.
close. It's too much word for my French person. So tell us a little bit, what exactly is that? What do you do? And then we're gonna get into like from where you started to where you are now and stuff like that.
Well, a little bit of background about me is I went to Baylor for nutrition science and dietetics, became a registered dietitian, and then I'm certified in functional medicine. Functional medicine basically means root cause. It's taking a little bit more of a holistic approach to our health. And I have my own practice in the Dallas-Fort Worth area where we help people get to the root cause of their health issues. We help them heal and then optimize their mental and physical health. And we do that through a lot of extensive lab testing, very different testing than what you would typically do at a normal primary care doctor. We do things like gut microbiome testing, hormones, adrenals. We'll even do some toxin testing as well too. So our goal is to figure out the why versus the what, which is a big difference than typical Western medicine. We also do nutrition coaching, and then what I think is the most important part of what we do is personal development and helping identify hidden traumas in the body. And if you think about it, most of us have some type of trauma, and about 1 out of every third person has gone through a very traumatic life event, but traumas can manifest in different ways throughout the body as well too. So when it comes to these traumas, it really affects the way that we think, which affects the way that we go about our lives and the habits that we create. And these can manifest in different things, a lot of chronic disease. So these can be things like obesity, food addiction, of course, and other type of body manifestations too, like autoimmune conditions, gut issues. I see that quite a bit. So I personally believe that the work we do on ourselves is the most important work that we do, and really diving into the personal development side. And the testing really helps us create more of like this holistic look.
So basically, you help them with their nutrition, and on top of that, as we know, as you said, people that have trauma, because everybody had trauma, subconscious. A lot of people don't even know about those trauma. Can be young trauma or whatever, like at a younger age, and those trauma are gonna cause emotional leaks and stuff. So even if you fix it with nutrition and all that stuff, you need to fix that too, which a lot of people don't do.
Yeah, I mean, if it was as easy as just eat this and eat this, I think we wouldn't live in a world where most people are, chronically overweight or obese, and that's the number one cause of mortality is literally like type 2 diabetes and obesity. It's the number one risk factor even for COVID and everything. And it's not so much of just knowing what to eat. It comes down to these traumas that affects our thoughts and our habits, leading to unhealthy relationships with food addictions, not being able to follow through on certain commitments to ourselves. So going to see a nutritionist is great, being told what to do. And some people, yes, they just need to know what to eat because of the lack of information out there. But it sometimes goes much deeper than that from what I've seen. And it really is mental. And even peeling back the onion even deeper, there's usually a lot of traumas there as well.
Yeah, I remember like back then I did my body was rejecting one ingredient. I don't remember if it was bread or something like that. And I had a big fight while I was like with my girlfriend back then while I was eating bread. And then my brain triggered the emotion linked it to this food. And then every time I was having it, I was not feeling good. My stomach was upset. And then I was like, well, I'm eating healthy, but something is wrong. And then we found that subconscious link, and when we fixed it, then I was able. Now I just don't eat gluten and stuff like that, but I mean, I had trouble because of that. So it's like a lot of people don't even know about that. So it's super interesting that you fix them, while you help them fix themselves with not only the nutrition, the good food, but also everything that is personal development and spirituality and like having a healthy life. like being balanced.
Yeah, and I like to think of like fitness and nutrition. It is like that gateway drug, like I said, to personal development. And that's even how like my own journey started is like I was an athlete, I was a gymnast, I was a dancer. I went off to college and kind of got more into like, sorority girl, party scene, normal college kind of stuff. And wasn't really feeling my best, wasn't living my best life. And I started to pick up weightlifting, and I got really, really into bodybuilding. And my personal development journey started off as I always want to be in peak physical shape. I want to have six-pack abs, and I became known as like Rachel Scheer, shredded six-pack abs, and I was doing all these bodybuilding competitions. And there was a lot of discipline to go with it, of course, because I think with fitness, it creates a lot of discipline. But that was kind of like phase one. And, I think oftentimes it starts off as, I just want to get in shape. I want to lose some weight.
I want to look hot. And then you realize you do it for other reasons.
But then there's other things and you realize, okay, like this was great. And it created a good amount of self-discipline. We need to start focusing first on our foods, what we're putting into our body. Are we getting exercise? Those basic things. But then I think what it always leads into is some deeper layered things. We're peeling back the onion a little bit there. And that's even what happened with my own story. I was actually at like my peak physical state where someone would have looked at me and been like, oh my gosh, this girl is like the epitome of fitness. I was on the cover of Train magazine 2 times in a row, bodybuilding.com, like back-to-back bikini competitions. I had that 250,000 following online, but like that also was a period of my life where I felt so empty as well too. And it was also during that period where actually my health internally started to go to shit. And I started to develop a lot of gut issues. I started to have like extreme bloating, GI issues. My thyroid was off. My hormones were off as well too. So it was kind of during that period where I started to go see a bunch of different doctors. Okay, what is going on? This doesn't make sense. I'm the epitome of health. I'm fitness. I'm nutrition. And doing all of these things. But there was also some deeper layered things going on. And I realized like I put a lot of my value in the external and, perfectionism as well too. So I pushed my body to these extreme limits, which started off as a very, very healthy venture with just like wanting to get fit, see what I was capable of. But it soon evolved into something much more where now my gut issues were so severe that I even was told by one doctor they wanted to cut out my entire large intestine. So like this wasn't just like, okay, I had like an upset stomach every now and then. This was like, debilitating pain where I would eat and I would be like literally lying on the kitchen floor crying because I like was afraid to eat. And I had this very unhealthy relationship with food. And on top of that, I had like my thyroid had plummeted. My hormones looked like I was menopausal. So everything is interconnected in our body, right? Where normal Western medicine, we look at it as like a set of independent organs, but it's really not how it works. Yeah. It's all interconnected. So when one thing got off, everything else got off in the body. And it was actually through going to all of these different doctors, being thrown on pills, here's birth control for your hormones, here's thyroid medication, here's a bunch of different things for your gut.
That's what they do often in Western like society. They don't try to fix the root. They're just going to feed you with drugs, make money. It's simple for them. And then, like you said, you would be depressed, take antidepressant too, this and that, and then it just kills your whole inside.
Yeah.
So yeah, I keep going.
You're just given a bunch of different Band-Aids to treat these symptoms, but it's not treating the root of the issue. And it was actually when I finally ended up at that colorectal surgeon's office who, because my gut was so impaired, the motility in my gut, like the transit of food through my gut, like came to a halt because of everything was so off. And he was like, hey, what we can do is like, this cannot be fixed. What we'll do is we'll just cut out the large intestine. We'll sew the small intestine to the rectum. I know that's not a sexy conversation to have, but that's what he told me. And I was so desperate at the time. I was like, well, if this is what's going to get rid of the massive amount of pain I'm in, like maybe, but that's what really then catapulted me into now what I do, which is functional medicine. Before I was just a nutritionist, calories in, calories out, macros, fitness, and all of that. And it got me to the body, but internally I was not healthy. And I also hadn't addressed this either.
Yeah, I remember it was the same for me. I started training to look hot and like ego. And then when I did competition and all that stuff. And that's what a lot of people get to, even in that journey of being like physically perfect or whatever. I was competing Mr. Canada, taking steroids. I was still checking my food, but I was eating a lot of meat, a lot of this, a lot of that, and I was at the best shape of my life. But mentally, I was so fucked. Like, it was bad, and I was unhappy. And plus, the steroids play with your hormones and your mood. And I remember for Canada, I did trenbolone, which is super hard steroids, and fuck, you became like a female but full of testosterone. So it's like worst combo ever.
Yeah.
And that's how I started to try fixing the problem, like at the root cause. And I'm still working on my gut, because I just had 2 sessions this week, just with a guy that's fixing those stuff for me through energy, and it's helping a lot. And as you said, like, even when you eat good, sometimes those people don't have the rest of the lifestyle. That's why I like your lifestyle, mine, we're balanced. We're not only want to be in good physical condition, but we want to have the mindset and the LT energy, LT body, and LT mind.
Yeah. And I think it comes from being on the extreme side. Like, you were on the extreme side of fitness. I was on the extreme side of fitness, to knowing, like, this isn't good. This isn't good for you. It's not what I thought it was going to be. Like, I feel very, very empty. You know, I'm actually way more happy I am now in my body that I'm in, and I'm still in incredible shape, but I wasn't as shredded as I was then. But like, my mental health, the purpose that I have, just the amount of self-awareness I have about myself. I actually heard this quote in a book I was reading this morning. It's called Warrior by Greg Munson, and he said fulfillment comes from 2 things. First, self-mastery, and then self-leadership, which allows us then to serve other people. And, you know, if you think about it, we really can't serve other people, show up for the people in our lives that we say we love so much. We can't help other people if we don't know ourselves, if we haven't done the work, we can't lead ourselves.
Help yourself first.
Yeah, and it's most of us are walking around very, very unconscious. And I've also read, we talked a little bit earlier, but a holistic psychologist, Dr. Nicole LePera, I read her book, How to Do the Work. And she even talks about, as a psychologist, how, you know, what's the coincidence that most of the people who end up in her office with all of these traumas and emotional issues, guess what? They also suffer from autoimmune conditions, gut issues as well too, and that's not a coincidence, because the body keeps the score, and it manifests in disease in different ways. Like I talked about before, food addiction, obesity, inflammation.
Yeah, it's like your body's alerting you, and we just don't listen to the message. We stop tuning in with our body, and we stop being in tune and meditating and all that good stuff. Now, because of technology and the food, we want things fast, put it in a microwave full of bad stuff, with the microwave full of fast food, sugar, gluten has been so modified, corn has been modified, and you put all that trash in your body. And plus, you have all those trauma that you don't fix, and your life is stressful, and you're always on your phone. So that's how you end up being like... It makes
sense why we're sick,
yeah,
unhealthy,
exactly.
Overweight, you know, why like we're having such severe outcomes from COVID. You know, I actually did a post this morning just about that in of itself, and it was the number 1 leading risk factor for death of COVID was obesity. You know what the second one was? Anxiety and fear. So mental, and then the foods we're putting into our body and lack of exercise. Those were the number 1 reasons as to why people are literally dying from COVID.
Yeah, and the more you think about something, the more you manifest it. So if you're always in fear, always stressed, always thinking about COVID, then guess what? You're going to manifest it in your life. And like being healthy, as you said, obesity is the number 1 killer in the world, I think. I think last time I checked, it was 20 million people, maybe worldwide, something like that, that die every year from obesity or anything related to it, because like people don't take care of themselves. And not only, like we said, it's not only getting in the best shape, like it's not only having the 6-pack and looking hot, it's being healthy, doing the work, and having putting in your body. Like if you had a Ferrari, you would want to put the best gas in it, you would want to take care of it. And people treat their body like trash.
Yeah.
but then it's too late. Like it's
the,
never
by the
too
homes,
late.
the cars, and all of that stuff when we have one body to live in,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You know, and it's but why? The question is, right, always why, and that's always what I'm asking with functional medicine is why, not just what. Okay, what is there's obesity? Why? And it comes from literally these unresolved traumas, the way we were raised when we were a kid, the way we were parented, you know, the lack of proper masculinity for men and vice versa. And these manifest
Yeah.
in these traumas, which creates our thoughts. And these thoughts create these unhealthy habits and addictions. Every addiction, whether it be a drug addiction, a food addiction, all is stemming from some type of trauma that's been unresolved.
And not only your trauma, like it can be your ancestor trauma. So your parents, your grandparents, it's been proven that you carry trauma from your ancestors. And I watched a documentary and there was a study on it about mice. And they were like the parents of the mice, they trained her to be scared of a flower or whatever. They were slapping her with it, or I don't know exactly what they did. And they were basically inflicting pain, showing the flower or whatever. And then 2 generations down the line, the mice never been trained, and just taking out that flower, the mice was tripping, and not she was scared and stuff, just from all those trauma and that she was carrying from ancestor and stuff like that. So yes, you have to work like not only on the healthy way and the food and stuff, but also inside. And I had the same problem as you. At one point, I was not fulfilled, and I was like, I look so hot, I'm in shape, this and that, but fuck, I'm so unhappy. And money and cars and everything is not gonna make you happier. Like I had everything. I was traveling the world. I was at a trip in the Maldives, $50,000 trip, and I was like, this is it. Like I'm not even happy to be here. Like people dream of that, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm here. So yeah, it's very important. And so the turning point of your success in business was also the turning point of your health. So obviously when you had all those problems and all that pain, you were not functioning properly, not being able to build businesses, not doing this and that. And that's what happened with a lot of people. So they're obese, or it can be extreme shape, whatever, but they're not happy and they don't have the energy, so they can't build businesses.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about being successful in life, was a turning point for you.
Yeah, kind of like what I said a minute ago is like our self-mastery and our leadership of ourselves allows us to serve other people, and we can even take that and expand it in different ways even as well too. When we aren't healthy, when we're not taking care of our body, not fueling our body with good food, we're not getting basic human needs, literally movement, sunlight, hydration, and we're not also working on this through like the books we're reading, podcasts we're listening to. I think that we can't really think anywhere outside of that too. So like I know for my clients that I work with quite a bit, they come to me, let's say with massive gut issues, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, and their whole world is revolving around, this whole issue. It's all they can think about all day long. And I know when I felt like shit and my gut was off, and my hormones were off, literally all I could think about was like survival. Like I felt so just depressed and felt awful every single day, and this took up so much of my energy, takes up so much energy to feel like shit. Like it seriously does.
It's 95% of your happy hormone are in your gut. And I remember like I had 4 colonoscopy. I had surgery in my intestine because I did an ulcer. So I bleeded out. I passed out. They brought me to the hospital. I had to have an emergency surgery for it. And I had so much gut problem. I was bleeding for years. And there was not only coming from the food, because I tried everything. I'm one of the healthiest person that I know. Like, I checked the water, I checked everything I put in my body, but I also didn't fix all those trauma until a certain point. And now that since the last 2-3 years, I fixed a lot of trauma and everything, and it's getting better and better and better. So, yeah.
Yeah, our gut and our brain are very interconnected between the two, which is why we call our gut our second brain. 95% of our serotonin is based out of the gut, and our vagus nerve, which connects our brain all the way down to the gut, and it goes both ways. So let's say we're someone who has had a shitty diet with a bunch of processed foods, tons of sugar, artificial sweeteners, maybe been on a course of antibiotics and their gut gets really off. They've actually shown that low diversity in the gut, or gut dysbiosis, an imbalance of bacteria, will literally cause neurological disorders. For some people, it's autism in younger age, even things like that,
Alzheimer and
anxiety,
stuff.
in older age, neurodegenerative issues, so Alzheimer's, dementia as well too, all based off of the bacteria in our gut. And then on the other side too, when we have traumas, they've shown that we have poor vagal tone and that communication. And if you think about it, when we were triggered and we go into a trauma state and it puts our body into this sympathetic place, our whole digestive system shuts down, and it either holds on to everything or expels everything. And also when we're in a stress state, the contractions in the gut also increase over time. So our gut and our brain are very, very, very interconnected, and they both influence each other.
And it's all working subconsciously, so you have to be careful, like, to
Yeah.
heal yourself, because you're not really controlling that.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit, like, now you're successful. I think you're in the best place that you ever been in your life. What's your morning routine? What's your daily routine? Like, what's stuff that you made a drastic change for you? Like, okay, I do this, and like, this is it.
Yeah, my morning routine is my secret sauce. I don't know why I can say that. But it's actually one of the first things I also have my clients create. And one of the biggest things I'm told for my clients too is they go, I don't wake up motivated. I don't wake up excited. And I go, freak, neither do I. I go, you know what the first thought is I think when I wake up in the morning is, press the snooze button, sleep more in my nice warm bed. I go, no, I don't wake up with energy. I have to create it every single day. I don't wake up motivated to want to do all the things, to go work out. There are some crazy people out there that literally just like, oh my God, I love life. And I get up. That's not me at all. So
Cuddle with the Dougie. I just want to stay in.
no, I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do this. But guess what? Like that morning routine is what creates my mindset for me to show up to do the things that I need to during the day. And it's evolved over time. Typically, I wake up, whether it's, this week I even woke up as early as 4:30. That's rare, though I don't always do that. But normally between about 5:30. And I like to call it like an M&M routine, and making it simple, something for your mind, something for just movement for your body. So whether it's a book that I'm reading, meditation, journaling, it's changed over time. Right now, I'm a little bit more focused on, reading and, whether it be like a personal development book. Sometimes it's something that may be a little bit more biblical even as well too, but something that
Like
can...
Brazer? Like biblical?
Biblical, like, yeah, it's like more of my faith-based stuff. Something that can actually put different thoughts into my mind and that's why I have my clients do it too, because most of our thoughts are on repeat based off of our traumas every single day.
Also your house, like, because when you see stuff, your subconscious mind recognize your
Yeah.
house, your couch, everything, and
This is my identity. This is who I
exactly.
am. It's all just recreated again first thing we wake up.
So you read a lot, you breathe, you hydrate first thing in the morning.
I hydrate, full glass, yeah. That's probably the first thing I do. Full glass of water with actually glutamine in it, aloe vera licorice for the gut.
That's
I
good.
put a lot of my clients on that too, first thing in the morning. Then I'm a coffee girl, so I have my coffee, I sit down.
Like what, 30 minutes after the water or immediately after?
Probably a little bit more immediately after,
Oh
but don't
my
follow
God.
my lead. Okay, I'm like the type, I'm like, give me my coffee. I'm like, water first, but then coffee. And then that's where I dive into like doing the work. So reading. So I've done meditation too, where it's been like, I got up to doing like an hour meditation. But I just change it based off of what I feel like I need. And then there's some kind of movement that I'll do. So I like to do walking meditations quite a bit. So I learned this from Dr. Joe Dispenza. I know you know his work, but he has some walking meditations. So it's like you're listening to the music, you're kind of doing some more manifestations, but you're walking, you're moving
advanced.
your body.
Like walking meditation, it's...
your eyes are open. You're not like walking with your eyes
like,
closed. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like people can't even shut their mind. So I would say that you've been doing meditation for a while, so that's why you can do it. It's like Eckhart Tolle says that he meditates all the time because he's always meditating in a passive state, like he controls his thoughts.
Yeah.
But yeah, the beginning, I people need kind of sit down because I guess if they walk and stuff, their brain just gonna go all crazy.
Yeah. So, and I use it for like, think of it like walking into your future.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's more so visualization of where I want to go with my life, like putting myself in that, and the walking, motion creates emotion. So I feel like through what I'm reading or, my morning routine that I do before the walking, this allows me then to actually create that energy. And by the time I get home after I've done both of those things, I'm just like, boom, let's crush the day. Then I can show up for my clients the way I need to. And if you don't want to see Rachel on a day where she hasn't done her morning routine.
Yeah, it started the day on the right track for sure. You take cold shower ever did or cold bath?
I did that for like a year. I need to get back on the cold shower
so
train.
good.
I know. I've never done it like full cold shower. But I would always like start it and then finish it cold.
Finish it cold?
Finish it
There's
cold.
no benefit of taking a hot shower and cold at the
No,
end.
you wash your hair, shampoo, then finish it cold.
No, you're supposed to go straight up cold for 3 to 10 minutes.
That's awful.
And it's to start the hormone. That's the challenge.
That's great for your vagus nerve too.
It's
cold
better than
showers
coffee.
is good.
So we're going to switch it this week for the next month.
The cold shower. Well, the thing is, you can't even do cold showers in Texas because it's like a lukewarm shower in the summer.
But you have a house or an apartment with 2 bedrooms, so one has a bath. So you leave the water cold because you only take a cold bath. You're not dirty. You're not washing yourself. You just go in the cold bath, and you can just buy ice and put it in before you jump in.
A lot of work to do at 5 a.m.
It's not. You're gonna see after that you'll be jumping around. You'll be one of those morning person.
Yeah, but yes, I have done the cold showers and I do like them. I think those are great.
That's cool. Okay, I had another question about spirituality, but first, since we're talking about books a little there and there, give me your top 3. I know you read a lot. Normally I ask 1 book, but you read a lot, so I'll give you the chance to give 3.
Top 3 books. I feel like they've changed so much though all the time. Recent books though.
Let's say today. Today you would.
Today.
Someone's come to you now and is like, I want to read 3 books. What are they? The first 3 books that come to your mind.
Talking about morning routine, Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Have you heard of that one before?
No.
Bedros, my business coach, had me read that during a period when I was in massive burnout. And he just was like, read this book. And it's not specific to fitness or business. It's literally about how we can create the life we want through creating a powerful morning routine. And he kind of goes through all these different things, but it's a very inspirational story about a guy who was in this car crash and he had, basically he went like more like paraplegic after, and he used a lot of these things like meditation, his morning routine to get his life and also heal his brain that had a lot of trauma after that accident too. So that's a really good book, and it's tactical, like things people can do for their morning routine.
That's cool.
Another one I read recently, Wayne Dyer, The Power of Intention, which is a good one.
Yeah,
a very good one about like how our thoughts create our reality, and how living in intention, can also offer more fulfillment and what we want in life. So it's a lot of like the law of attraction. I really, really liked that one a lot. Another one, I guess I'll pick a functional medicine one. I would say Eat Smarter by Sean Stevenson, if you've heard of his stuff, because he takes more of a functional medicine approach to nutrition and all of that as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, I'm reading right now The Happy Gut.
The Happy Gut.
Yeah, and then I guess I'll read this one. It's one of my first book about, I did a lot of research about food and all that stuff, like tons of research, documentary, everything, but never actually read book. And then I saw an ad on Instagram about this Happy Gut doctor, and I was like, oh, this guy looks cool, and he had similar problem than me, the leaky gut and stuff. And it's so sad because, like, as you know, like, I remember seeing so many doctors, maybe 50, 60 doctors. Like, I did the best hospital in Quebec, and nobody is competent. Like, there, it's like they don't know what to tell you. They just say it's IBS, it's Crohn, it's this and that, and then you do the test and you do the biopsy and you do things, and it's nothing. They can't find the cause, and they're like, oh well, I'm sorry. I mean, 4 colonoscopy later, it's like we can't find it still. We don't know what you have, and it's just like, it's so hard.
Yeah.
Like
70% of autoimmune conditions actually come down to a leaky gut, even as well too. And normal Western medicine, we're not looking for things like leaky gut. They're looking at structural, is there Crohn's ulcerative colitis? Is there an ulcer? Maybe is there inflammation? But they're not looking at bacteria, the microbiome.
Exactly.
Nutrition, leaky gut even.
They never ask you a question about that. They were like, "Oh, you have those problems. Okay, we'll try to fix it." And then, "Oh, you're bleeding. Okay, it must be irritation, this and that." And I remember at a certain point, I was going to the bathroom 14, 15 times a day, and the bad day was like 20 times. It's like you said, your life revolves around that. You're like,
Yeah, you
I
can't
couldn't
think of
really
that.
go to the beach because there's no bathroom close. So I was always like, it was very annoying for me.
Yeah, your mental health is affected.
Oh, yeah.
I talk a lot to my clients too about, so when your gut is leaky and you're getting bacteria, toxins, foods seeping through that, they've also shown you get what's called the leaky brain. So you get a breach in your blood-brain barrier too, which also allows for more neuroinflammation of the brain.
Extreme fatigue. That's what I had the
brain
most.
fog, quite a bit even as well too.
I
Those
was
are very
like
common.
always tired because on top of the bleeding and all that stuff, I was losing so much iron, and I was depleting on a lot of stuff. So it's crucial for, like, when I promote health, it's not only to look hot. It's because we've been through a lot, and I never really told story about, like, talking about shit and stuff like that, and having camera in your ass is not a topic that I bring on Instagram.
Yeah,
That's,
make a test on sexy.
yeah. So
I was
I
told
was
that.
like, that's why I created the podcast, because I want to be real. I want to say that, because sometimes people are like, "Oh, being hot and having a six pack is not the only thing in life." No, but being obese or overweight, and that's causing a lot of stuff. Not only it's proving that you have emotional trauma first, because if you can't stop putting food, it's because you're trying to fulfill yourself, comfort yourself, and you have trauma. That's number one. And second thing is just all the disease that come with it. And for going to the hospital a lot, it's not fun. Not fun at all.
Yeah.
So we talked about meditation and stuff. You consider yourself spiritual? Like, you manifest all that stuff?
Yeah, I believe in definitely like the power of intention, the power of our thoughts with creating our reality, with creating essentially the outcomes that we want in life. I think we attract all of that in our life overall. And I was raised Christian even as well too, so I have that faith base, but I believe in both. I believe, both are co-created and coexist together. And actually, Wayne Dyer in that book, Power of Intention, he does a really good job at kind of explaining both as well.
I think faith is good in terms, I'm not into religion at all, but what I like about faith and sometimes religion, what it's going to bring is people going to believe so strong into the help so they're going to help themselves. They're going to manifest it, but then that's the faith that brings it. So yeah, it's still helping.
Faith is powerful regardless, right?
Yeah.
And the power of faith versus I think we all need to believe in something. Like, we have to believe in something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's really...
That you call it God or energy or consciousness or whatever how you want to call it, but at least as long as it's in respect of other, like, believe in whatever you want, but it's still gonna bring good.
Yeah, and I think it gives us a sense of guidelines to follow as well, too, how to live a high-value life, someone of character, someone of values, how to, show up with kindness and love and all of these encounters. And I think, if you look at all different religions and faith, all of it does come kind of encompasses a lot of the same things as well, too.
Very similar. So if you would be giving an advice to your younger self or people listening, what would it be?
Oh boy, give advice to my younger self.
Or people that are listening, or stuff that you would say, like...
I'd say that, there is power in working with a coach. And I know you're a coach. You help people. You're doing life coaching. I'm a nutritionist, and I haven't gotten to where I'm at even today, whether it be with my business, my health, my own traumas, without help. And I think sometimes, and especially men, we struggle with asking for help or utilizing help. My business during COVID 10x'd, but it was because I worked with a coach. I've also worked with different counselors and life coaches as well too to help me.
You invested a lot too,
Yeah.
like, just so people know that when you're successful, the successful people understand the investment. So I know your coach is expensive, and it was worth it because you put the work behind. But just so people know, you invest a lot of money into
myself,
into yourself, like books, training coaches and stuff. So not only that we say we're a coach, but we have our own coach, and we like walk the talk. If we preach it, it's because we're doing it and we see the work.
Yeah. And I think when you invest into a coach, you're subconsciously also telling yourself, I believe in myself by doing that. Yeah. So like if I was going to expend the amount of money that I did with my coach to work with my business, I had to freaking believe in myself, you know, that I was going to do the things I said I was going to do and grow my business. And I did, and I 10x'd it. And it's the same thing in anything in life. So especially if you're someone who's, you know, struggling, working with a coach, it's accountability, but you're subconsciously telling yourself, you're worth it.
Exactly.
And I believe in myself.
And money is energy. So if you're trying to bypass and get everything for free or do stuff for free or get training for free all the time, you're basically telling life that you're not ready to invest in yourself. You don't put the energy towards it. So energy and consciousness, because you create the life you want, recognize it. So no matter what you're going to say consciously that, oh, I'm worth it. Nah, if you were really thinking that subconsciously, you would invest in yourself. You would not be scared to invest in yourself, and you would just do it, like take risk, do stuff. And when you're doing it, it's an exchange of energy that you're doing, and it's like proving life that I'm getting it.
Yeah, it's having that faith, like we talked about. Like, I have faith in this, and I did a post before about like having a cost mindset versus an investment mindset. So when we have a cost mindset, basically we look at everything as transactional, relationship, business, and we never can grow beyond just like
I
where
love
we're
the
at
cost
here.
mindset. I call it the broke mindset.
Yeah,
It's
broke
not
cost. Well, it's exchange,
I'm
right?
like, this is a more polite way
We
to
probably
say.
end up broke, yeah.
I'm just
a little
like, you have a
nicer.
broke mindset. I got a millionaire mindset. Now I should call it like
Well,
that. It's
cost versus investment mindset. You know, I make this investment. Yes, there's a cost here, momentary like exchange, but what is this going to give me back? When I invest into, for example, when I invest into myself, the time through in my workouts, the money investment into my food, I could look at it as that cost. The time I have to take away from my work to go work out, the time I have to take away to go grocery shop and buy these healthy foods. I could look at it as just a cost. Or I could look at it as, what is that actually going to do for me, my confidence, how am I going to show up in my business, you know, that creates confidence in the way you show up in different encounters overall. And also, you subconsciously tell other people things about you. You know, if you have someone walk into a room you're trying to do business with and they're sloppy, they're unhealthy, are you going to trust that person very much? So probably not, you know.
Exactly.
So when you take care of yourself, you're also telling somebody, I'm someone who follows through on things I say I'm going to do. I'm disciplined, and that's a very attractive thing. Business, relationships, anything you want in life. So I think, you know, investing in yourself, to answer your question, coach. And if you can't afford a coach, books, podcasts. There's so much free information out there. Your podcast is free.
Yeah, and still books and stuff. It's I buy a book every week. Every week I buy a book because I read between 2 to 3 books a month. So every week, as soon as I finish a book, I order another one. And let's say I talk with you. I bought a book in the car while coming.
Esther Perel.
I don't skip. I don't say, oh yeah, like when I trust people like you, or I trust people like that I recognize, that I value, and they tell me a book, I just buy it straight up. I'm not saying, oh, I'm gonna buy it later. No, because I'm gonna forget. I do things now. I invest in myself, and that's one thing I always do. Like I always bought audiobook. I listen to Gaia, all that stuff. I also Mind Valley is like super business stuff. I took a year subscription. So quit your Netflix, quit all that bullshit, guys. Like, it's okay once in a while to watch a movie. You want to have Netflix and chill, be my guest, but invest in yourself first. And then when you need a little break, that's when you deserve it. It's why would you pop champagne and do Netflix and this and that when you're broke and you don't have the life that you want and you're not healthy? So yeah, I like it. It's the first time that someone bring investment, and I totally agree with that. Can you tell me like one time that you had a failure that, we're talking about manifestation, so what time that you had a failure that actually became a success? Because often like a breakup or stuff like that, or anything that happened to us, we tend to see negative, but there's no bad or good in life. It's just things happen, and life has something for you, and it's coming, and just trust the process, have faith, however you want to call it. So
yeah, two big ones, I think, for me that were very life altering that I remember in the moment being like, why is this happening to me? This is the worst thing ever. And I don't know if it's a failure necessarily, but it was a very traumatic event. You know, one of the first one was all my health issues, right? You know, I was mad at myself for, in a way, doing that to my body, for pushing my body to that extremes, for, you know, and even at that period of my life, like I was, yes, worried about calories and macros, but I wasn't paying attention to the food, like the quality of the food. There was a lot of artificial foods, artificial sweeteners,
Gluten,
disgusting Walden Farm shit, you know, that poison, all that stuff that I was putting in my body, overtraining and the traumas and stuff. So I was mad at myself because I felt like I caused all of my gut stuff and my hormones and all of that to be off. And I remember, of course, like laying in bed and being like, this isn't real life. This is not happening. You know, like I felt betrayed by my body because I was a fitness model. I was someone who was health conscious, and now I have all of these health issues. So, but you know, now like that allowed me to go through the entire process I probably would not be as obsessed about gut health as I am now if I didn't have gut issues. Like I would not sit down and learn and just be like, I want to learn about gut stuff. You start learning about it, right? Because you have gut stuff and you're like, I want to learn about this. This is interesting. So it allowed me to become like super focused and obsessed about functional medicine and hormones and thyroid and gut stuff. And now it's literally what I do is a career, is help people heal. And it's literally been my whole experience between, you know, the hormones and all of that and how we heal that, but also the personal development and addressing the traumas, everything that I went through that at the time felt so shitty that also then
now you use it to make a living.
I use it and I help other people. Like, and now it's literally my career because of like I made a career out of the shit I went through. Like,
because you realized there was a lack. There was lacking of this, and that's the same reason why I became fitness coach and a life coach, because I think that people need it, and I wouldn't be the person I am right now without Tony Robbins and all those people that I was looking at, and I was like, one day I'll be like that for people. And now, because of all your thing, you became like the master gut.
Yeah, and no one wants to go to listen to someone speak if they've had like a perfect life. Like imagine the guy up on stage who's like, I just did this, and I crushed it, and I created this business, and I'm so happy and I have the family. We're gonna be like, boring. Like, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear someone
They want to relate.
I want to hear someone who's gone through shit, who's been in the gutters, who's had to pull and dig themselves back up and recreate themselves, and now they're living, you know, to their fullest potential. So I think that's one of the beautiful things. It is sometimes our pain that becomes our purpose.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I mean, because when you go through all that, I remember I was the same. And even nowadays, when I have like today, my belly is fucked. I got drugged yesterday, guys. Nice in West Hollywood. It was amazing. And when I have days like this, that I'm bleeding and my gut is just so fucked, I'm like, fuck. I remember how bad it was back then, and I'm like, I don't want to live that again. But as you said, that made me not only want to be a fitness coach, but I was like, I have to heal all the rest that we talked about. Like, and that's when I dig more deeper in spirituality and the food, the water with fluoride, the machine to clean my water, like everything, toothpaste. I don't wear, I have a natural deodorant that doesn't have aluminum and all that stuff. So now I'm just super careful what I put in my body because I want to be a perfect machine. I want to make sure I treat it like it's the best thing in the world, because it is for me.
Yeah.
What was your best investment this year?
Best investment this year. Well, going back to coaching, I actually, I was working with my business coach, and I had worked with a counselor, but it wasn't quite like a life coach. And actually, I met, her name's Brittany. She came on my podcast actually recently. And she's helped me tremendously as a coach kind of deal with some of my remaining traumas. And, you know, if we keep digging, we're going to find stuff. But, you know, as a woman who's been single, who's very driven, entrepreneurial, the dating world has been very, very difficult for me.
What's up with your dating life, Rachel? You want to talk about it on the podcast? Should I invite you in another podcast, talk about your dating life?
Talk about my dating life. You know, well,
How's
it's hard.
Texas man, Texan? How do we call it?
When you've done so much work on yourself and you're someone who's driven, you know exactly what you want and what that looks like. Like, I never want to get into a relationship where I feel like I'm pulling somebody, you know? So for me, she actually had me do some very tactical things about getting clear on my own values, on like specifically what I want in a relationship, but also making sure that I'm living those things that I'm also looking for in a relationship. Because how often do we say, I want this from somebody else, but guess what we are?
Yeah, exactly. You have to heal yourself. That's why you text me at 3 a.m. That's part of the list.
No.
No, I'm not joking with you. But yeah, I remember it's like, there was one of my friend in Canada. She was like, if you have sex with girls without purpose and stuff like that, and multiple, like when I used to be young and I didn't really care about who I was sleeping with, the girl was hot and it was okay, you're actually blocking the intention in life to manifest your loved one, like the person that, because you're showing life that, hey, you're ready to accept whatever, like, oh, this girl is hot, you can do it, whatever. So I know that your sex life is very important for you. You just don't go and waste your energy and stuff.
No.
You wait for the right partner, and I respect that. So yeah, it's super important. Like, if you're trying to manifest the person that you want, you need to align and be the person that's going to manifest this person.
Mm-hmm. Most people are looking for what they can get versus what they can give, right? In most relationships and everything in life. Another good book, I think it's, I'm blanking on the name, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
And, you know, most people go into every business encounter relationship is, what can you do for me?
And they want to be right and this and that. And then
how
you
does that
learn.
work out, right? Not so well. You know, when we go into every encounter of like, I'm going to be everything that I desire, therefore we attract what it is that we want into our life.
Yeah.
So for me, it was getting really clear on the woman that I am, the values, the standards that I have. And also it's been a great filtering system, because if someone is
Doesn't have
not
it.
aligned
Yeah.
with that, it's very easy for me to say like, hey, no, this isn't the right fit
We
for
were
me.
talking about it in the car, because I've been single for 5 years, and it was the same for me. And as I told you, it take me 1 or 2 days. And if the person doesn't have there's few things on my list that are key things. You make a list like you would be shopping for an apartment.
I made a list,
Yeah. And then you have like, let's say 15 things on the list. And then you're like, okay, there's 5 or 6 things. I don't compromise on this. So let's say.
Non-negotiables.
Yeah, exactly. You would be like, I want someone that's supporting me. I want someone that's successful, someone that's positive in life. And then you would want someone physically to be brunette, blue eyes, and this. But this I'm ready to compromise if I meet a girl that is blonde instead, and she has things on the list that I'm like, wow, then it's good. Or I would want someone that like to do tons of sport. But okay, this, as long as she does activity, she doesn't need to do like, she can do yoga or whatever. Like, and then you put things that you're not willing to compromise. Yeah. And as we talked, it's like, I see it very quickly. Oh, like this type of behavior, I can't deal with that. Because I know long term, after 5 relationship, like catastrophic relationship, oh my God, one day I'll write a book on my dating life. It was a roller coaster. Fuck. My friend always like, you should write a book. Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
But first I wasn't the person that I am now. So I was attracting lesson. That's
Swimming
how I
in
call
the wrong
it.
pools, yeah.
Yeah, like sex was good, she was hot. Okay, I have those feelings, but it's like, this is all chemical. Like, in order, the person has to be your best friend. Like, it's more than just that. And as you said, you have to have that list. Yeah. And a lot of people do lists for everything except when it's come to the love life.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that Coach Brittany had me do is like, what are everything you want in a person, and what are like the non-negotiables, and what are the, oh, it'd be nice to have, like, I'd like to have this. But it allowed me to get really, really clear on that overall. And that was really helpful when it comes to dating overall. But also I like to think of, relationships in general. This isn't just sexual relationships. This could be business relationship, friendships. A question I always ask ourselves too is, instead of like, me trying to read that person, reading your own energy after you're with that person. You know, does this person give me energy? Like, for example, I have my best friend named Michelle. Shout out to her. And every time I'm with her, I leave feeling like $1,000,000. Like, I leave and I feel like I'm so motivated. I'm so inspired. I want to go crush the world. She's someone who gives me energy. And, when you're with someone romantic, business, friendships, and they're draining energy from you, they're pulling energy when you leave it, that's what you really need to be assessing. Does this person give you energy, or are they drawing that from you? Versus always trying to read sometimes that person. It's just like, assess your own energy after you're with that person.
Yeah, exactly. How do you feel about that person? Because that's what they call the butterfly or whatever. Like, how does that person make you feel? And then you can judge by yourself of the rest. I would say, what's your favorite quote or mantra? Or quote.
Yeah. Change the way you look at things, and the way things look change. That's a quote by Wayne Dyer. And I think that goes very much in alignment with a lot of what we've talked about here, right? So when we change our thoughts, when we address a lot of these traumas, and we create the way we actually want to think. And I think, how often have any of us ever sat back and questioned our thoughts? And that's something I talk about all the time. We have a thought, and because we had a thought, we believe it to be true.
Yeah.
But these thoughts have been created based off of our childhood, our environment,
Your ego.
Our ego, and all of these things. And just because you have a thought doesn't mean it's true. And you can choose not to accept that and to recreate the things you want to believe to be true. So when we change the way we look at things, the way things look change. And, it's like people who are searching for happiness, right? We're searching for, this is the body, the fitness is going to make me happy, that job, that relationship.
If you're chasing it, it's chasing you, so you never reach it.
Yeah, then you only get lack. But when you look at things differently, you experience happiness in a completely different way.
Yeah, it reminds me of the mantra, like, life doesn't happen to you, but you make it happen. It's how you react to life. Because no matter what's the event, at the end of the day, it's just how you react. No matter what's happening to you, you always have like multiple way of reacting. And if you react the right way, then life is just going to be beautiful. So, yeah.
And we get to give meaning to everything in life, right? Like, you could give meaning to, like, all of my gut issues, like, that I experienced. I could have given a meaning to this of, like, why did this happen to me, and not used it for a positive. So it's like, we can create the stories, we can create the meaning of the things that we go through, and we can literally choose the thoughts that we want to believe to be true. And then
it's okay to acknowledge the thoughts, but as you said, choose what you want. Like, and if anybody would insult you or anything would happen, you have the choice not to react to it. Just say, okay, like, this is it. And even when you have thoughts like, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm this, it doesn't mean it's true. It's just your brain is tricking you. So you can acknowledge it and just change your thoughts, and then you're going to change your reality, like you said.
And it works too. Like, I had my clients do this. I had a client do this on Friday, and he was struggling to follow through on the commitments. I had him do the nutrition and had him do all these stuff. And he's like, I would do it for a few days and I'd stop. And I went through this entire process with him. So I have him draw a line down a sheet of paper. And on the left side of the paper, we write the negative affirmations he's telling himself. So those negative ones could be things like, I'm fat, I'm ugly. We tell ourselves affirmations all day. And so we went through some of these different affirmations, and he was saying, and some of them were like, you look good enough for 38, and things like that. Or you can just start tomorrow with this little mess up. So he had all these little affirmations. They were not like terrible, like you're ugly or things like that. But we reframed them for him. So I'm like, okay, I go, is this really what you want to believe? You're good enough for 38. And he's like, fuck no. So I was like, all right, what do you want to believe? He goes, I want to believe that I'm in the best fucking shape of my life. And I'm like, okay, because he's like, because I follow through on the things I say I'm going to do. And I'm like, all right, write that one down. And there was some different ones where we literally reframed all of these, negative affirmations. And he walked out of my office being like, I feel like a completely different person. He was like so excited. And I said, so these thoughts are going to still come up. They're not going to just go away now. And I said, but every time it does, what you're going to do is you're going to intentionally replace it with what we just created here. And I said, and at first, right, we don't always believe it, but you will feel differently, by just saying that to ourselves, because you feel like shit when you speak shit to yourself.
Yeah.
And you can literally intentionally change it to what you want to believe, and you feel different. And guess what happens over time? You start actually doing those things.
Yeah, there was a study I remember I read in a book. It was like they took people that were in depression for years, and then they make them repeat for 20 minutes in front of a mirror, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. And at the end, nobody was depressed again. Like, it just changed their whole mood and perception, because those words are powerful. And then, of course, as you said, if we put them back in the life that they had, that they felt miserable, and they gonna always have those thoughts that are bad, they're gonna go back to depression real quick. But if you do it, and I'm sure the first few minutes that they say it, I'm happy, if they've been depressed for years, they don't believe it.
This is bullshit.
Yeah, and at one point the brain start picking up on it, the subconscious mind, and then makes you feel happy. Guess what? So if you do that every day for years, like that was only 20 minutes. If you do that mantra, you can say stuff out loud in the morning. Like, I've seen video, it's super cool where they now at school, like some teacher are gonna put a mirror and the kids are like, I am strong, and then I am beautiful, and then just do stuff like that. And that's what we should teach kids, because those things are powerful. Instead of bullying other kid like we used to do, it's like this should be how we do it.
Affirmations are very powerful, and like what you were just saying is like we've been on this autopilot for so long with these negative affirmations. Kind of think like driving to work. You don't even think about it. You just end up there, and now you're going to go a completely different way to work, and you're going to have to start thinking about it. Be a little bit more intentional when those come up. Be like, oh, I'm not going this way. I'm going this way.
Yeah.
Even though my body just muscle memory wants to go this way, but over time, guess what happens? We naturally start to go this new route. And it's the same thing like with even the placebo. So they use in like antidepressant studies too. So the people are experiencing depression, right? But what are they affirming in themselves all the time? They're saying, I'm so depressed, I'm unhealthy, all this stuff. But when they are given a sugar pill, but they so believe that they're about to feel better because of what they're taking, which is a sugar pill. Guess what happens to their affirmations? They start saying, I'm going to be happier. I'm going to start feeling better. And guess what happens? They start feeling better. That's the placebo effect. That's literally what is happening. The only thing that's happening, the affirmations they're telling themselves.
Exactly. So last question would be like, what's your best time management advice, or when you feel unfocused or overwhelmed, like what do you do? Because I know you have a successful business, as we discussed, eating healthy, going to the gym, meditation, reading books, all that stuff takes a lot of time. So how do you manage your time?
Yeah, and I know the thought sometimes when we're busy, we're feeling a little bit burnt out, is I'm gonna just kind of neglect maybe my workouts. I'm going to neglect my morning routine and things like that. And I've been there before. I am very intentional to keep with that, because I will literally grow crazy without that. Because for me, like fitness and that is like my it's my therapy, for myself. And it's also the accountability I have with myself every single day. So regardless of how burnt out or busy I am, I still keep with those commitments to myself, because it helps me keep some level of sanity. But along with that, I think it's staying in a place of mindfulness. Most of the time, anxiety comes from anticipation of the future. So when we're living in an anxious place, which is when we're stressed out, we're thinking about everything we have to do. But if we really kind of look at like what's right here in front of me at this daily task. Like, I know I've been at a point where I've been burnt out and I'm in a consult with a client and I'm like, oh my God, I have to do all these things. But how fair is that to that client, number one? But if I'm right here, right now, doing what's most important in front of me, it literally gets rid of all that anxiety.
Power of now.
Yeah, the power of now, powering of being here, being intentional with our time. And that's hard. So you can kind of check in with yourself throughout the day, and Dr. Nicola Pera and that How to Do the Work, she has even her clients do some things where she's like, all right, set a timer multiple times throughout the day. And when it goes off, check where you're at. Are you here? Are you present? Are you completely somewhere else? And you realize how often we're unconscious. We're not actually present in that moment. So
that's when you're stressed or anxious because you think about future or past.
Everything that I have to do, everything I have to get done. So I'd say one is sticking with my commitments still that like allow me to show up my best. Two, I'd say it's staying present, as much as possible on the things that are right in front of me, one thing at a time. And then the other thing is like, this is probably a little bit more tactical, but what are like the things that I need to get done in order of priority? Because most of us make just like checklists of like, I have to do this, and it makes it look like equal necessity to get it done. And I know even like Andy Frisella, he has like the top 3 things that you have to get done, and everything else is like
eat the frog, like do the most important stuff first.
Most important things first thing, not first in the morning, but like first part of your day to get that out of the way.
First work task.
First task out of the day. And I think those 3 things, being tactical, being present, sticking with your things, it'll get rid of a lot of that anxiety, but it'll allow you to still show up and get the things done that you need to.
Amazing. And last special question for you. So, gut issue, what would be your best nutrition tip for the gut? Like you said that in the morning you drink aloe vera.
Aloe vera, it's called Glutagenics. It's by a company called Metagenics, but it's a combo between L-glutamine, aloe vera, and licorice root. So glutamine's great. It's amino acid. It helps
much you put?
heal
10
the gut
gram?
lining.
20?
So, so for leaky gut, they say upward to 15 to 20 grams for healing that. I'm more into maintenance right now, so I only do about 5 grams.
Yeah.
But for healing leaky gut.
Can go up to 40 even if you have a leaky gut and you're active. You can do 2 times 20 during the day. Tastes like shit, but yeah, whatever.
It's not too bad.
You do. I started celery juice too right now,
Okay.
like fresh celery juice with lemon. Lemon is good, and now I need to add aloe vera too. So that's you would say it's a cocktail. I do also L-glutamine and all that stuff.
Yeah, and this may not be the sexiest answer because everybody wants a quick fix, but the foods we eat are going to play the biggest role in our microbiome. And if we look at the traditional Western medicine diet, the processed foods, the sugar and all of that, they lack fibers that feed good bacteria.
Yeah.
They have sugars, inflammatory fats that cause inflammation in the gut that feed bad bacteria. So we get this dysbiosis in the gut. So when you're eating an avocado, if you think about it, you're literally eating the microbiome of that avocado, and you're feeding different bacteria in the gut.
So there's no secret pill. Damn it.
I mean, there's things that, the combination of it all, right? Like, I think, like, the supplements, like the glutamine, aloe vera, licorice root is
Supplement
great.
is like...
Probiotics, great. Take those, too. Adding some good bacteria to the gut.
Yeah.
Prebiotics.
But as you said, first would be like nutrition, workout, rest, and supplements are addition. But you need to fix all that and fix yourself, heal yourself first, too.
Yeah, the whole person must heal in order for the gut to function optimally.
Yeah, amazing. If you want to tell us your social media where they can find you, also, you said you can give a location of your business, the name of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Rachel Scheer or at Rachel Scheer Nutrition. I have 2 pages. One's my practice. Website, rachelscheer.com. Pretty simple there. And my practice is located in Dallas, Texas, but I work with people wherever, and we can actually do the same lab testing, hormones, gut stuff, and we do telemedicine. So
they just sent it to you?
Yeah, we send out all the labs out to them. They do them in home, and then we do all the consults virtually. So
that's cool.
Location is not a problem.
Amazing. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for all the amazing information and being awesome. So, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're on the podcast, I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.